unlikely.
Alright, we're coming up on Endor now. That's where Jabba's got the droid.
Well, let's make this quick. The Empire would have taken control of the city by now.
Here's our exit.
Greetings, Jabba. You're looking delightfully more faker than I expected. Wow. You doing okay, babe?
All I feel is disgusted.
Don't worry, honey, I got this. Oh, well, you see, I've come to clean your sewage pipes. Why the hell do you think I'm here, Mama June? I've come to reclaim my droid, nothing more. You can either profit by this, or be destroyed. It's your choice, but I warn you not to underestimate my power.
Hey, can I finish this guy off now?
18, please, we're talking here. Look, if you want to audition for my 600-pound life on A&E, I can work into talking with the producers.
That's it.
Come on, I had that completely under control. I was gonna fight a Rancor and shit.
Oh, that's too bad.
Vader will pay me a fortune for you, Jedi.
Looks like there's no escaping this time.
Don't worry, honey, I'm way ahead of you. It's time to send these bastards to hyperspace.
What took you so long?
Oh, you know, slug monsters, pig people, walking on the sun of a hentai. How you doing, 18?
I'm going to go change. You two kill some time.
Oh, we're about to. We got some leftovers coming in hot out of the microwave.
There they are. Stay sharp.
What's to be scared of, you big coward? I take it back, I'm scared too.
Why won't you die? Hey, look out!
You got any bright ideas?
Yeah, get in one of the gunner seats in the back and haul ass!
Roger!
So I said no cameos!
top of my list, smuggler. Time to finish you off.
We're being dogged, Timber. Yeah, no, I don't mean you. All right, we have one shot. Hang on. Boom, baby!
Bro, that was awesome!
I always wanted to do that.
Hey, we are not going to be late. Let's get a move on.
So how'd you look in the sleeve outfit?
Hey, save your guttered mind for Ayaname back on Earth. Set course for the Republic fleet.
With pleasure.
Well, with the amount of action we just had, it kind of sums up the movie we're going to be reviewing today. So let's take a look at the final installment of the Star Wars saga. Unless you count 7, 8, and 9, but that's for another time. This is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. After a crushing defeat in The Empire Strikes Back, the third film in the trilogy follows our band of heroes planning a daring mission to rescue Han Solo from the clutches of the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt. When both C-3PO, R2-D2, Chewbacca, and Princess Leia fail to reclaim their friend, Jabba imprisons them and makes Leia his slave in a very revealing outfit. You know, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going. But thankfully, Luke Skywalker returns to his home planet to bargain with Jabba, but ends up having to face multiple obstacles along the way. However, they manage to escape and regroup with the Rebel Alliance, who discover that the Emperor of the Galactic Empire, played by Ian McDiarmid, has also finished construction on a second Death Star, far bigger and powerful than the first, and resides on the forest moon of Endor. Meanwhile, Luke returns to Yoda, who confirms that Darth Vader is in fact Anakin Skywalker, Luke's true father who turned to the dark side, and that another Skywalker exists in the family's name. Luke joins the rebels on a mission to Endor, but all are captured and allied with a small tribe of furry natives known as Ewoks. As the rebels make their final stand against the Empire, Luke turns himself over to Darth Vader in an attempt to destroy the Emperor and convince his father to redeem himself and leave the dark side of the Force. Now, most fans say that Return of the Jedi is definitely the weakest of the original trilogy. Aren't most third films and franchises are? But honestly, for me, Return of the Jedi is as fantastic as the first two. Like a few fans I know, Jedi was the one I watched the most as a kid on VHS, and whenever I thought of Star Wars as a kid, I usually referred to the third film. In particular, this film is the most memorable to me. I don't know why I kept coming back to it as a kid, but it was probably for its vast array of colorful characters and puppets, a huge amount of action scenes, and the final duel between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. But after taking my nostalgic goggles off and looking at it more as an adult, I actually find myself seeing this one less. Maybe it's because I've grown fonder of the first two and I feel exhausted to sit through the third film. Plus, looking at it through an adult perspective, I can kinda see a few minor problems with it. But before we get to the main course of the review, let's once again talk about the characters. Luke is at his peak in this film. He's become much wiser and more intelligent now as a Jedi Knight, given his experience from Empire helped him mature and think more before he acts. While it's known for Jedi to be forbidden to form attachments, he still feels for his friends and especially his father, who we hope he can turn back to the light. In a sense, that's the main mission of the movie. Yeah, sure, the Death Star and the Emperor is the biggest threat to the galaxy, but at the film's heart, we mostly root for Luke in this movie. And I gotta say, this is by far Mark Hamill's best performance in the saga.
Then I am a Jedi.
Actually, to be honest, the weakest character in this movie are honestly Han Solo and Leia. It's not the actor's fault at all. Harrison and Carrie still deliver a fantastic performance and great romantic chemistry, but in the writing, they feel like they've stepped on the sidelines. And you can definitely see that with Harrison. I mean, who can blame him? He actually wanted out after Empire because he had no heroic responsibilities at this point. Even writer Lawrence Kasdan agreed with Harrison that they should even kill him off. However, creator George Lucas wanted to keep Han Solo engaged in the story, and he got what he wanted.
Hey, it's me.
But we can't ignore one of the biggest highlights in the movie with Carrie Fisher in that slave outfit. I don't know whose idea it was to make this a thing, but this movie made Carrie Fisher a major pinup for sci-fi lovers in the 80s, and I can definitely see why. But aside from that, Carrie once again gives a brilliant act as the galaxy's most badass princess. And on top of that, when her true past is revealed, her character becomes much more mature and wise like Luke, and it's really moving to watch.
I know. Somehow, I've always known.
Of course, you have your comic reliefs with C-3PO and R2-D2, who still give a good chuckle here and there.
I wish I had your confidence.
Plus, do I even need to mention the great galactic meme of Admiral Akbar?
It's a trap!
Even if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably seen this clip, and it's become one of the most memorable quotes in the saga.
Our cruisers can't repel firepower of that magnitude!
However, the two who actually give more jokes than the two droids are actually Chewbacca and Han. Harrison and especially Peter Mayhew play it off like an Abbott and Costello routine, and honestly, it's frickin' hilarious.
Chewie, no!
Great, Chewie.
Great. Always thinking with your stomach.
So props to the two for giving some good humor, which I swear was improvised.
You'll get no such pleasure from us, right?
Other returning characters like Lando and Ben Kenobi still have some great moments to shine and still do a fantastic job.
Your insight serves you well.
However, heroes aside, the best character in this movie is, believe it or not, Darth Vader, who we finally see his true colors as not only a servant of evil, but also a tortured soul who starts to break away from the dark side. Without a single facial expression and only a dark mask to cover him, we can see not a machine, but a man who is conflicted, scheming, and lost to the problems around him. He still keeps to his evil ways, but he starts to see he wants to break away from it. And honestly, when he decides to help his son and eventually dies as a tragic hero, it still brings a tear to my eye. Major positives definitely have to go to David Prowse, Sebastian Shaw, and of course James Earl Jones for bringing closure to one of the greatest villains in cinema.
You may dispense with the pleasantries, Commander.
But along with Darth Vader, this film is also a major villain show. Jabba the Hutt is also a fun and slimy character, along with his huge band of minions. I mean, who doesn't know characters like Bib Fortuna, Salacious Crumb, and Max Rebo? Hell, I know Jimmy Norton can remember such a fun, cuddly character.
Fuck, that's who he is, that cantina scene. That fucking faggot blue. Here it is. Right, here it is. Play along, Jimmy. That fucking asshole with a clarinet bar and the piano, the elephant playing the piano. Cut face.
All of these amazing, colorful characters have to be credited to Stuart Freeborn and his talented crew at the Jim Henson Group. In fact, it took several people to operate Jabba alone. He almost acts like the best cushioned fort ever. Even his voice is memorable, and the character, while creepy and disturbing, is so much fun to watch. However, once again, all the creature characters seemed like a scheme for Lucas to still sell more action figures, and honestly, I can't blame him because, again, these toys are fucking awesome. However, another major villain introduced to the saga is none other than Emperor Palpatine, played by the iconic Ian McDiarmid. And just look at him! You can tell he means major business in the galaxy. And as a kid, this guy scared the shit out of me with his sunken-in eyes and dark robe in the shape of death. Hell, the gatekeeper from Nightmare can suck it. This guy is just horrifying. And as we see, his power can manipulate the minds of others, and when his terrifying lightning abilities spark into Luke, we can definitely see him as the galaxy's greatest threat.
The heat is swelling in you now.
Once again, George Lucas stepped down as director and instead stayed on as a creator and producer of the third film, especially after the huge fight with the Screen Actors, Writers, and Directors Guild after the release of Empire. Most people still assume even today that Lucas directed Jedi as well as Empire, but the reins were instead handed over to the not as well-known Richard Marquad, who's most famous for the World War II thriller Eye of the Needle, and goddamn did he have big shoes to fill. And what do you know, he delivered with flying colors. While he was never a special effects person, he was still able to capture the magic of the first two, develop the characters to a much higher level, and give the film a much darker tone than of Empire. Most fans probably know that during the production of the third film, the film was originally titled Revenge of the Jedi, but weeks before its release, George Lucas decided to go back to the original title of Return of the Jedi, mostly because in thinking about it, a Jedi does not take revenge, which was honestly a smart move, and overall fits better with the theming and lessons of the story. Hell, for a while during production, it went under the title Blue Harvest, mostly because the production didn't want rental outlets knowing that they were shooting a Star Wars movie, and therefore increased the rental fees on the equipment. But on the plus side, at least Family Guy got something out of it when they did their Star Wars specials.
Sorry. Been building up for a while. Sorry.
The cinematography is once again brilliant. This was honestly the first in the saga to give much more of a larger and epic scope with its scale and camera work. Most of the wide shots are spectacular, and most of it was done with matte paintings. And hell, even some of the wide shots are as iconic as the film itself, like that shot of the frog outside Jabba's palace. As well, the location of Endor in the redwoods of California is superbly well shot, and the special effects and sets blended well with the environment. Speaking of which, holy shit have the special effects improved and surpassed the first two films. The space battles especially are beautifully executed, still using model spaceships, but with so many of them in the frame. I can only imagine the compositing process and the rendering being a huge pain in the ass for the editors. And this is before modern digital rendering. Hell, because the effects were so successful, in 1987, George Lucas and Disneyland opened Star Tours to the general public, a simulator ride showcasing us as tourists accidentally getting swept up in the Battle of Endor. I actually managed to ride the original attraction as a kid at Disney's MGM Studios, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, most notably due to the life-size AT-AT walker in front of the facade. But unfortunately since then, the ride did get an update in recent years, and from what I've heard, it's a pretty decent upgrade. Check it out at all the Disneyland parks when you have the chance. Not to mention the new Star Wars land opening up at all the parks. Star Wars was very much a model kit film with its space battles. Empire Strikes Back was a stop-motion film with the Battle of Hoth and its AT-ATs, but Return of the Jedi is very much a hand puppet film. So much detail and care went into the vast amount of creatures in the film, including the awe-inspiring Rancor. Originally, the team at ILM considered using a man in a suit as a tribute to the Godzilla films, but unfortunately, the suit didn't look too good, and they instead went with a high-speed rod puppet operated by, once again, Phil Tippett. And yeah, it did the trick perfectly. One of the best giant monsters in cinema. John Williams once again returns to score the third film and still nails it out of the park. Unlike the first two films, the third film's score doesn't really rely much on new themes to drive the story. However, some are worth bringing up. The Jabba the Hutt theme is sinister, comedic, and heavy, much like the big man himself. However, for most people, it may sound similar to another large character's theme from a much later anime produced in the 2000s.
Don't interfere, Robert. This here's between me and Martin Luther, so-called king. Only king I know is Elvis Presley. God rest his soul.
The Endor theme is also a lot of fun, and the action theme on the ground battle really puts you in the heart of the action. Of course, one of the darker themes of the film is with the Emperor's bone-chilling theme. It's almost as if the devil appeared in musical form. It's just unsettling to hear. However, my personal favorite new theme in the film is The Jedi's Rage, in which Luke loses control of his emotions in the climactic battle with his father. And it's pretty horrifying to listen to, especially when you feel Luke's rage in that scene. Not to mention, when Luke gives his father a proper funeral by lighting the Darth Vader armor on fire and the classic Barony Sunset theme plays in the background, it actually fills me up with such emotion that I can't help but cry at the end of it. Again, this is a score to definitely pick up if you're a Star Wars or John Williams fan. He still has the magic touch here, and it's overall great to listen to. But while this film is a fun and flashy finale to the trilogy, it's time to talk about why most people consider it the weakest of the three. Well, first I'll get the most obvious problem out of the way. The Ewoks. Most fans consider them annoyingly too cute for Star Wars teddy bears that were Lucas's first attempts to make a gold mine in the toy adverts. But can I be honest and say that they don't really bother me that much? In fact, I consider them great additions to the saga, most notably Wicket, played by the very talented Warwick Davis in his first major role. He got the role excitingly since he was a diehard Star Wars fan, and in a sense, I think we can all relate to Warwick. He's essentially us fans living the dream of fighting with our heroes against the Empire. So yeah, I don't think the Ewoks are fine, but I can also understand why they don't have many fans. Especially given the fact that they were able to defeat the Emperor's best troops. Yeah, I wouldn't buy that for a second. However, once again, like the first two films, the biggest problem with Return of the Jedi is the special edition changes. And Jesus Christ, are these changes awful! I mean, what was Lucas thinking? The song Leapneck was perfect as it was. It's a really catchy and fun beat. Why replace it with a song that's just, well, cringy? Not to mention, the CGI is just shit. It has not aged well at all. It's actually quite sad when I say that the changes in Star Wars are more acceptable. However, in some respects to both Lucas and John Williams, I will admit one change I thought was for the better was the change of the ending music. I mean, Yub-Nub? Really, guys? That shit's honestly just annoying. I honestly didn't mind the change of the lighter piece of orchestral score. Plus, it feels more relaxing after such an amazing thrill ride, and in some instances, it feels really emotional. However, other changes are just fucking ridiculous. I mean, changing Ghost Anakin from Sebastian Shaw to Hayden Christensen? Really? Why was that necessary? I can understand how Lucas wanted to show Anakin how he truly was before becoming Darth Vader, but unless Disney brings Hayden in as a Force ghost in later movies, this change was really dumb. Plus, it doesn't really make sense, since Sebastian Shaw's Anakin actually did turn back to the good at the very last minute. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. And I want to leave these final negatives with a simple question. Do you want to know why I refuse to buy the new DVDs and Blu-rays? It all comes down to one simple scene which in some respects pisses me off. It's the scene in which Darth Vader is in his greatest emotional conflict. The turning point for not only the trilogy, but the whole saga. He's torn between swearing allegiance to his master or saving his one and only son. Without any dialogue from Vader, we see his struggle and rejoice with emotion when he saves the galaxy from evil. However, what did George Lucas do in the Blu-rays? No! Why? Just why, George? This scene was perfectly fine as it was. It got the emotion across and still puts a tear to my eye. But now I've got tears in my eyes because it's ruined by pointless no-shit additional dialogue replacement. Hell, I'll go as far to say that it was worse than this! Honestly, I would have preferred one of those fan edits with flashbacks from the prequels less than this fuckery. I mean, how the hell did that go along with James Earl Jones?
Hello?
Hi, James. It's your old pal, George Lucas.
What do you want now, George? Have you come to ask me about voicing more action figures?
No. I actually want you to do new Vader dialogue for the upcoming Blu-rays.
Look, don't you think you've added enough corn in the crap, George? It's completely unnecessary and...
Oh, but you're gonna love it. We're adding some important dialogue in the scene where Vader becomes a good guy in Jedi. When he picks up the Emperor, he's gonna shout 2 very important words.
No.
Oh, that's great, James. Lucky for me, I'm recording this phone call. I can just add this into the sound mix.
No!
Fantastic. Forgot about coming in. That's all I needed. There'll be a nice fat check for you in the mail tomorrow. Thanks again, buddy. See ya.
Pray to God Disney doesn't call me up now.
But aside from the many problems that fans and myself have, Return of the Jedi is still a fun and entertaining finale to the Star Wars Trilogy. It's got some great creative, colorful characters, fantastic action scenes and cinematography, continuing great characters, and is a fulfilling and emotional finale. The scope is much bigger, and it's an amazing epic from start to finish. While I haven't given it much love as an adult since I was a kid, I've forgotten how great it is, and overall, I'll give it a brilliant 9.5 out of 10. While it just barely doesn't match the first two, it's still a fantastic finale, a great memory from my childhood, and it's by far a phenomenal final chapter to the Star Wars Trilogy. Master Rice Duke, how many men?
150.
That's it?
Hey, it's better than nothing. The rest of us are caught in the other battles of the Galactic Universe. I only brought those who are available.
It'll have to do. Now let's go over the plan. Patch me through the fleet. I'd like to thank you all for helping Earth in this time of need. Things have been peaceful since the Great War, but now evil has risen again. We have learned that Darth Vader has been resurrected by a greater magic than that of the Force, and is preparing to send an Imperial fleet to invade the Earth's forces. The plan is simple, with a full-on attack against the Imperial forces in the land and the air. Rebel spies have managed to gather information that the Empire holds hostilities at the heart of the Toronto City.
That would make a great spin-off movie.
The attack forces will focus on the grounds and in the skies. General Bontella will command a squadron to occupy the Imperial air support, while I will defend forces in the ground battle. The enemy forces focus solely on stormtroopers. However, Rebel spies have discovered that Vader commands a gathering of Sith Lords. I know this is a fearful time for some, but if we do not stand and fight, then the Earth system will be tainted by the dark side. To simply put it, without Earth, you all don't exist. Man your ships, and may the Force be with you.
Alright, boys, we're entering the atmosphere now. Prepare to launch towards the city.
Roger, Gold Leader. Hey, I finally made it into this thing.
Lower us down! Hands deployed!
Master, the Republic fleet is making a strike on our forces.
Send forth the Sith Knights!
Yes, my master.
news to me.
Wow. It's time for a break. We're gonna put this sucker on autopilot and be good to go.
It's not. I'll kill it myself. Lords of the Sith, fulfill your destiny. Slay the Jedi.
Onward. Give up, boy. You are no match for the dark side of the Force. Join me, and I can give you true power.
I'd rather spend my time punching you in the balls! Ah! Wow. Everyone was right. You didn't have the high ground.
You are brave to make a strike on me, and you will die braver than most.
Watch yourself, Brad. You got one on your tail.
Copy, Gold Eater. No! I'm not going out like Porky's, goddammit! Fuck, I can't shake him. Patrick, what do I do? Do a barrel roll. Hey, I always wanted to do that. Come get some shit, bats! Attend to power, bitch!
Good shot, Brad. Bad one.
Admiring the show, warriors. Watching all your Jedi companions die by my doings.
It's time we finish this!
Indeed, Jedi. Your fall will be my accession and claim to leadership of the Sith.
We're losing fighters fast. I know, but we're outnumbered and running out of tricks. What is this, your god? The hell was that?
I don't know why I let you play your silly games. Destroy After this!
Fucking show off.
He's not the only one!
Target across 250, 20 miles, 5,000 alone. South Fairfield, just over the ridge. Engage.
Damn Marines. Alright, boys, we just might win this one. Give them everything you got.
Friends cannot save you now. Tell me, Eldor, how do you choose to die?
Use the Force, Jack. Let go, Jack. Jack, trust me.
The Force betrays you! I know Lord Vader's tactics. No, it's not you, is it, Anakin? Who are you? Imposter.
Silence!
The spirit of Vader does not live within that suit. Someone else has taken the mantle.
Impressed that you are so brave enough to stand against me. But it is futile. I have plans, warrior, and you will not stand in my way this time.
Lord, the rebels are back up! We're on the road!
This is not the end, warrior. This is just the beginning.
Sith! Retreat! Retreat!
The Imperial forces are
forces have completely disappeared from Earth's solar system.
I'll see to it that the UN is informed on the situation and make sure that our solar system stays out of reach of the Galactic Senate.
Well, hopefully that'll be the end of all reality breakers for now.
Be sure to give the warrior our thanks once again for bringing our alliances together. If he ever shall need us, we are only 3 million light years away. But be vigilant, Reister. If the dark forces are ever to attack again, we must be informed. May the Force be with you.
Eric, you want to get some drinks, man?
Yeah, I could really go for a glass of blue milk. By the way, don't you have to return the Falcon?
Yeah, I'll keep it for one more day and give it right back. The extra fee is gonna be a bitch, though.
Well, that wasn't such a big deal.
No. I'm afraid this battle is only the beginning.
Star Wars series. This is my life. This is the hole I live in, the cave I hide in. The original notes in the original outline are 15 pages. This whole early part was written to set up the films that were made. There is drama inherent in it. Everything I write is my own. Jar Jar's a key to it. We get Jar Jar working. Because he's a funnier character than we're doing now. Again, it's like poetry. If they rhyme, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.